Oh,
Yeah.
this is a staggering stat. The Bengals are favored in 15 of 17 games this season.
can
That's
already bet
second
'em?
only to the Rams, who are favored in 16 of 17.
Wow.
But weirdly, Colin, the Bengals win total's 9.5. That feels light given that the Ravens are favored in 14 games and their win total's 11.5. Something's going on here. I don't know if it's sharp gamblers are
Well,
passing on the Bengals. Is this a doubt of Zach Taylor? I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, that's probably. You don't like Zach Taylor. I think he's fine.
I mean, it's not that I don't know the guy. I just think he's been quite bad as a head coach.
Well, he's dealing with the cheapest ownership group in the sport.
He's
the
got
Raiders,
a superstar quarterback. Go win games, my friend.
Well, it takes a lot more than that. What have I told you for years? Don't chase money, chase management. There's a sea of money. There's a finite amount of good broadcasting management. So you can if you got problems upstairs, everything's limited. And Joe Burrow, there's not a lot you can do. I mean, that's why when they went and made that trade to get Dexter Lawrence, it was like, bravo. That's a swing. And I do think their defensive personnel the last 2 years, they've attacked the part of the team. I don't necessarily agree with all the picks, but they have attacked the area of need. So they're not going to be a bottom 5 defense this year. Burrow said the other day it was the best roster he's had since he's been in Cincinnati.
By the way, did you see where the Bengals are week 9 against Atlanta in Madrid, Spain?
Yeah.
So make sure you send Burrow some recs so he can hit him up. I know he's more of a fashion guy. Different stratosphere.
I think during the
Cowherd.
season, he'll be fairly focused on football.
Oh, yeah, locked in.
All right. I honestly don't understand what J-Mac's problem is with the Cincinnati Bengals. But more importantly, do I get to take my first victory lap already regarding this team? Because I've been singing their praises and telling everyone that they are legitimate, that this is actually happening, that they're excellent, that their schedule can be used to secure the number 1 seed, a first-round bye, and home field advantage. And now look where we stand, they're favored in 15 out of 17 regular season games. This is exactly what I've been explaining to you all for weeks about this Bengals roster. The moment I saw their schedule, my eyes lit up and I thought, this is a slate that could absolutely be leveraged for the top seed. I kept saying throughout all the schedule releases that I only take those schedules seriously when the strength of schedule can actually be leveraged for that number 1 position. That's always what grabs my attention more. Outside of that, not so much. And now here we go. The Bengals enter the conversation at 15 of 17 games. Now, the whole win-loss total, the over-under, whatever, I think because you're always hedging around the idea that this team hasn't been healthy, right? Was Joe Burrow playing the entire season, and so on? So I'm not going to lose any sleep over that whatsoever. But before I go any further, Cincinnati Bengals fans, please don't forget to subscribe and watch the full-length video. When you do that, view counts explode. Subscribe. BR numbers explode. It's not about chasing views. It's not about chasing subscribers. It's about being able to create Bengals content that people genuinely want to watch and talk about, so we can keep having the most unbiased, grounded, honest discussions about this franchise. It really makes a massive difference. So I would truly appreciate it if you could do that. But yeah, I actually saw this last night, where I forget exactly when, not this specific clip, but I saw the 15 of 17th stat. This is my first time watching this particular clip. It was actually funny because I've been making so many Bengals videos, obviously because I believe in them. And then when I came across this, I thought, oh man, I just made a Bengals clip the other day. Is this just going to be a repeat? What's the angle here? And then I realized, oh no, this is perfect, this is actually about them being favored in all these games. And I thought, that's ideal. Because like I said, I saw that randomly posted somewhere online, probably just a meme. And I saw it and thought, that seems real. I don't think that's fool's gold. I'm not going to go on some random rant about, just stay healthy. Just have a competent defense, and this team is ready to roll. I don't know what order I'm posting this in because I've already recorded another Bengals video where I really go in depth again, and I'm excited for you all to watch it. So I'm trying to remember exactly what I said and how I phrased things in that last video. But I'll just say this, I'm telling you. There's no way that this team is fully healthy and not a great team. There's just no way. There's no scenario where we're sitting here saying, man, this team seems really healthy, Burrow is playing, but I don't know, they're 5-6 right now. What's going on? What's wrong? That's just not going to happen. They're too great. They're too great. And you know what? Listen, I'm not this massive Zach Taylor fan, but he does deserve some credit for the offense. Don't get me wrong, Joe Burrow, Ja'Marr Chase, T. Higgins get a huge portion of that. But when I've looked through some of the analytics, and I don't have all that in front of me right now, and I'm not going to do some long statistical breakdown at this moment, offensively, Zach has done a good enough job. He hasn't been a liability, unless you want to blame him for not being able to fix the offensive line over the years, or for trying to figure out the defense, and so on. But I don't think Zach Taylor has the same amount of power that a Shanahan, a McVay, or an Andy Reid has. Not to mention what Colin talks about regarding having a cheap owner. A lot of that also comes down to who you hire, your ability to hire even just scouts. And the Bengals are notoriously very cheap in that regard. Other teams have entire armies to handle that process, and the Bengals do not, at least historically. Maybe that's changed recently, but historically, no. So even little. Things like that undercut a GM's or a coach's ability to get the job done. When you talk about a cheap owner, it's not always just about being unwilling to pay the players, because you still have to pay them. I forget the exact number, but it's something like 88% of the salary cap over a floating 3-year window. So owners still always have to spend money. But what an owner can do involves working with void years and being able to front the money. When you use void years and signing bonuses, you have to pay that money immediately. So when an owner doesn't have as much liquid capital, or is unwilling to move money from other accounts where they're earning a ton of interest, because that's how all these guys make their money, they make money off money. If you have to front money to a player, you lose that. If I'm going to give you $100 million upfront to build this team, I'm losing millions of dollars just in interest because that money is no longer in an account where I can earn off it. So that's a lot of what you hear about with cheap owners doing cheap things. They're not just failing to hire the right people and take care of things that way, they're also unwilling to spend money in a way that would cost them even more profit. It's a little tricky, but yeah, favored in 15 of 17 regular season games. Just stay healthy. I read a comment a couple days ago where someone said that Bengals content in general, not just here, but everywhere, is becoming so repetitive. And he said, I wish there were other things we could talk about regarding the Bengals. And the reason it's so repetitive, Joe Burrow, stay healthy, defense, just don't be a liability, is because that's the bare minimum. If you just take care of the bare minimum, you have a front row seat to the divisional round. You're right there. Think about how good this offense has been. Even last year, when Joe Burrow was injured and when he came back, I went through the stats before and showed you how special and how great he was even in that limited window, not even being able to get into the rhythm of a full season. And if they're able to just keep that offensive momentum going, and the defense, how would they not win the majority of these games? How would they not be directly positioned for the number 1 seed? What would stop them? What could possibly get in their way? I don't see what it could be. I really don't. That's why I continue to say, and I'm not going to spoil the meme, I don't know what order I'm posting these 2 Bengals videos, but I showed you one meme that I think perfectly illustrates this team. So please watch that video too. But the low-hanging fruit for the Bengals ultimately leads them down a path to a Super Bowl. And typically that's not the case, right? Low-hanging fruit is usually just, okay, it helps us build a foundation, and so on. But in the Bengals situation, the low-hanging fruit just leads straight to a championship. And that's what's so exciting about what they can do. And to know that they also have a schedule that really opens that door, you're just, yeah. And that's what would be so devastating at this point too. Burrow could stay healthy. But if the defense still continues to be a mess, if the offensive line finally catches up with Burrow and this offense and ends up being a liability in a way they struggle to overcome, it would be pretty devastating. I've said this before, I haven't really hyped up the Bengals this much ever. And I could not be more positive and more optimistic about them. Anything higher and I'd be a crazy person. I'd be saying they're going to go undefeated, never a doubt. But I'm not going to say that. Anything short of greatness this season will be devastating. It will be devastating. If Burrow, let's just say Burrow gets hurt, you reach a point where you think, I don't know, man. Can we ever build a team around this guy? He's so special, so elite, so great, but his body just won't allow it. Or if they still come up short because of the defense or all those other things, then okay, have we reached a point where you just have to blow it all up? Get rid of Burrow? I don't know. Just unload everything. Unload Jamar Chase, unload Joe. Get a million draft picks. Get a new coach, get a new everything, fire everyone. Because you're just thinking, how have you not been able to figure this out by now? How could you just keep doing the same thing over and over again? Constantly crossing your fingers for a healthy Burrow, or constantly thinking you've finally rounded out the roster and things will be different this year. That's why it's also so exciting with the Bengals right now, because the stakes have never felt higher. If they're actually competent, they're as much of a Super Bowl contender as any team could ever be, without a doubt. And if they come up short, I made a similar conversation about the Rams. It was like, if the Rams have done everything this offseason, everything, and considering how close they were last year, that was already a devastating underachievement, loosely speaking. This coming year, if they don't win the Super Bowl, it's like, you did everything. You have an elite offense, an elite defense, an elite coach, elite quarterback, elite wide receivers, elite running game. You've got it all covered. And some Rams fans say, yeah, but our special teams. It's like, so you need everything 100% perfect nonstop? That's what you need. At that point, I don't know what to tell you. It would be a devastating underachievement. Absolutely devastating. I'm maybe not at quite that level with the Bengals, maybe ever so slightly a notch less, because the Rams have that momentum to build off of. They have Sean McVay, they have more of that momentum and continuity to build from, and I'm more confident that their defense will be better than the Bengals. Sorry to say. I just think the Rams are positioned to have a better defense overall. That doesn't mean I think the Bengals' defense will be bad. But clearly, with the moves they've made, the Rams have set themselves up to take a huge step forward. And it's not like their defense was terrible last year. Was it a huge strength? No. But it wasn't the Bengals' defense, right? And they also have an elite offensive line. So I just think it's all hands on deck for the Bengals. Stakes could not be higher. I'm so excited about it. It feels like the Bengals are really going to be playing in meaningful games. Even in 2024 or 2025, both years there was some sense of, man, if they could just win a couple of these games, they could be in the playoffs. And there are other teams that have been in that situation in the past that I never really believed in, but the Bengals I did. If they do find themselves in the playoffs, I think they're incredibly dangerous. I think they can win a ton of games. I think they could go the distance. But you still have to work a little harder than you'd want to get there to reach that mentality. And this year, that's what I'm saying. This year it really feels like it's closer to being theirs to lose rather than theirs to win, if that makes sense. So, we could see a rematch between the Bengals and the Rams in the Super Bowl. I'm not predicting it. I don't predict this far out. It's not my thing. I'm not into that whole business because I think it's all made up at the end of the day. And then you feel beholden to those takes, and you filter every prediction through that lens. I don't like to do that. I like to be flexible with how I view things. But that outcome is definitely on the cards. If I was forced to pick right now, if I had to absolutely pick, and again, I'm not picking this. I'm not picking this. So if it ends up happening, I won't be taking a victory lap about it. I feel pretty comfortable with that. The only thing that would hold me back is health. That's the only thing that would make me hesitate. As confident as I am in the Bengals, I think, can you please stay healthy? Please. Just stay healthy. If you just stay healthy, I believe in you. If not, then what is there to do here? So, are you feeling excited yet? Bengals fans, are you ready? You ready? I'm ready. I'm pumped. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you all think about the Cincinnati Bengals being favored in 15 of 17 regular season games? I'm guessing they're probably not favored against the Ravens on the road, that would be my guess. And then maybe the Steelers on the road. I'd assume it's the 2 road games. Which road games would they not be favored in? Maybe the Texans defense in week 2, I'd have to look into that. Or maybe it could be both Ravens games. But let me know your thoughts. I read every single comment. Whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get into some discussions. Let's get into some debates. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you be a part of it. I want to build something we all genuinely feel connected to, something we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, it really does help with visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.